So today I want to talk to you guys about a topic that is so important for your success, but so overlooked all at the same time. And that's spousal support. Spousal support is critical to your success, but it also can be the catalyst to your failure. So let's talk about it, y'all. All right. So I'm a married man of almost 16 years now. I've been with my wife for over 20. And I think about where I'm at in life today, right? Went out and built a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio over the last 17 years. Own over 120 apartments, teach people all around the world how to build 6 and 7 figure businesses in real estate investing. Like a really blessed life, right? But it didn't start that way. It started out, growing up on the west side of Detroit, blue collar family, everything that was ingrained in me was go to work, get a good job, hopefully work it for 30 years, get a retirement, all the rest of it. But I always aspired to have something different, okay? And while it did start that way, I was fortunate to retire from my corporate job at 35. And I'm giving y'all all this context because I'm about to tie this into how critical spousal support is. I was only able to make the biggest moves in my life because of my wife and her buy-in to my vision. And I think about how many people are out there that are not where they want to be in life, and particularly because their spouse does not subscribe to their vision. And so I want to give you guys in this video a few things that you can do to help to get your spouse to buy into your vision, okay? The first thing is, and you probably guessed it, you need to define what your vision is. Like, what do you want out of your life? And I'm talking about clearly articulate it and write it down in such a way that you can discuss it with your spouse. Because the first thing is, it's hard to get somebody to follow where there's an unclear path. So you need to make the path clear and so they could see themselves along that journey with you. Since I'm on that point, another critical component to that is while showing them the path and showing them the journey, make sure that they see landmarks of themselves along that journey. Listen, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. I'd just be remiss if I didn't let you know, yes, we do have another one of our 5-day challenges coming up, the iFlip Challenge, where I am teaching you how to go out and build a 6 and 7 figure business in 12 months using other people's money. If you are trying to go out and build a real estate business and achieve the time freedom and financial freedom that you've been seeking all your life, then click the link in the description, join the next challenge. I look forward to meeting you guys there. Now back to the video. This is so important. I failed at this at certain points in time where my business was really starting to take off. I was making the most money that I ever made in my life. And again, based on where I come from, that in and of itself was a challenge. And I found myself always super excited about that aspect of it. And it consumed me to a point where I forgot to include my wife and showing her where she fit in my pursuit. And that was a big mistake, okay? Because if they can't see themselves in your vision, then they could also become apprehensive and concerned that if you do go out and succeed, achieve whatever level of success that you're pursuing, that they may be left behind. So do you think that's going to help you or hurt you? It's definitely going to work against you. So again, the first thing is defining what is your vision, write it down and make it plain, Habakkuk 2:2, right? And then be able to clearly articulate that vision to your spouse and include them and show them where they fit in your vision. Now, that don't necessarily mean that they need to be in the same pursuit as you in whatever said endeavor is, right? My wife happens to be very risk adverse and I'm the risk taker. And the same may be true in your relationships, whether the husband is risk adverse or the wife is risk adverse, vice versa. Typically, you're going to be unequally yoked in that regard, right? Very seldom do two big risk takers get involved, and most of the time it don't work out well, you know what I'm saying? So be grateful that you guys are unequally yoked in that regard. What you need to be equally yoked about is the vision. Secondly, you have to actually go out and start taking action. Many people are in relationships where your spouse doesn't buy in because you just talk a lot, right? You get excited about this thing, you do the initiation, but you don't do the execution. And so you just become the boy for lack of better terms, the boy that cries wolf, that you constantly say what you're going to do, but then there's no follow up and follow through. And so it's hard. You get upset that they're not getting excited, but they're not excited because they're tired of getting excited, but then there being no execution on the other side of it, right? And so they start to almost dismiss you as if, oh, you just got another thing, that you got a new toy that you want to play with, and after Christmas is over, it'd be somewhere collecting dust in the corner. So you have to become consistent with when you have the new idea, that you actually take the action and you follow through with that thing to a point of, I don't even want to say failure or achievement, but to a point where you've exhausted all things regarding that and it's time to move on to something else, okay? Your spouse will respect you more to have tried something, executed, and failed than to just keep trying stuff and never following through. I promise you that, okay? So that's number 2, is to actually go out and start taking the action steps and move beyond initiation to actually execution. So here's point number 3. While it is important for our spouses to support us in our pursuit, it is equally and more important that we support them in whatever they do. So my wife I believe that she can be successful in anything that she does in life. Her being risk adverse lessens her wanting to be an entrepreneur, in my opinion. She probably watched this video and I get crucified for it now. But she excels in corporate America. She's an executive for a large corporation. And so one thing that I used to do poorly was, because I was so fixated on growing my business and all the challenges and woes, but upside that came along with that, I think at times I diminished what she did. Not directly, but subconsciously, because I just felt like the thing I was working on was bigger. And to some degree, maybe it is, but at the very same time, it's whatever they're doing is big to them. And so we can't ask for them to go above and beyond for us when we aren't willing to also compromise and sacrifice things for them. Because although they may be going to work, and although that may seem like a normal occurrence, they still having abnormal experiences at work. They still not thrilled about spending time away and all the things and the rigors that come along with having a job, and or if they are a business owner. And so, I just try to make more of a conscious effort to, and y'all gonna laugh at this, wash the dishes maybe, right? Or anything that I could do to maybe put an extra smile on her face, or take some of the load off of her, something that I know that she would have done, right? Like, I ain't got no problem with throwing some clothes in the washing machine. She got a problem with me throwing clothes in the wash. She like, don't touch the clothes, you know what I'm saying? But just things like that you think aren't a big deal, but really are, or if they have something coming up that you can just plow the road for them. Because I promise you, when you are in pursuit of building something big and you do have the proper spousal support, they're gonna do a lot to make sure that you straight. Because they know that our schedules are a lot more kamikaze. They know things are a lot more unpredictable in our lives. And they know that when we do need help, we typically need help above and beyond the normal call. And, when you got a great spouse, as I do and as many of you do, they're going to constantly be putting things on the back burner for themselves to even make sure that you straight. And so in reciprocity, make sure that you're proactive in giving them the level of support, although it may be smaller, is big to them. And I promise you that will help them want to help you more as you pursue your endeavors and your dreams and all the rest of it. There's a scripture that says, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. Okay? Proverbs 14:23. My mentor says that all work works. If it's not working for you, it's working on you. And so it's so important that we continue to see things all the way through, because there's always a win at the end of it, right? Romans 8:28 says that all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord and been called according to his purpose. I think about in my life where I went on this pursuit of real estate investing, and while I had some immediate success, I had a lot of failure on the other side of that. So much so, I lost $500,000 at one point. And as scary of a time that was for me, and the depressing of a time that it was for me, I think about how my wife never condemned me for it, never judged me for it. She oftentimes seemed even the least bit concerned that I would get out of it. And I could tell you, that between that and my faith in God, those two things were critical in helping me get through it. Because if she was beating me in the head, like, see what I told you, you stupid, blah, 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 blah. Like, what would that have done to me when I was already feeling as low as I could feel in that moment? And so what I'm trying to articulate to you is see it through. Because on the other side of that, God allowed some of the worst moments in my life, that pit, as I would call it, later became my platform for my mentorship program. Once we obviously went in and fixed the things that were causing the leaks and the money hemorrhaging in the business, and got on the other side of it, and made millions of dollars, and then put other people in position to go out and build $1 million businesses for themselves. Listen, I hope you guys are enjoying this video. I just want to tell you really briefly, if you are an aspiring investor or you are an active investor and you want to scale your business through remote investing, you have to go get a copy of my ebook, The Top 5 Things That You Need to Know About Investing in Real Estate Remotely. There's no fluff. It is practical application on how you can go out and build a solid remote investing business with all the fundamentals that you need. There's the link in the description below. Go out, get you a copy of that book, and also make a comment. Let me know how it's helped you. All right. Now back to the video, y'all. But I just think about, had I quit because I felt horrible, that I wouldn't have ever been able to go through the fire with my wife, for both of us to be battle tested in that regard. And although she's risk adverse, she saw the epitome of why she's risk adverse in me going out and having a $500,000 loss, but yet still found a way to support me. And she probably was scared as well, but because she knew the toll that it was taking on me, she kept her feelings to herself in order to prop me up, because she believed and cared for me enough, right? And so that's the beautiful side to spousal support. And this is why spousal support is so critical to you being able to go out and accomplish things that you want to accomplish in life. Nothing in life is one-sided. Think about it, right? A piece of bread's got two sides. It's something as thin as a piece of paper has two sides. Like everything, there's duality to everything. God created the heaven and the earth, right? He created the heaven and hell, right? You get it. It's duality to everything, the way that God created the world. And so with that, some of you, the lack of spousal support is the biggest thing that's holding you back right now. And what I want you to understand is Jeremiah 29:11 says that God has plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future. God has given all of us a very specific plan and purpose in life. The whole reason why we get up with breath in our lungs every day is because he hasn't fulfilled his purpose through us that he's put us on this earth to achieve. With that being said, while he does send us a helpmeet in the form of a wife to help us go out and pursue our purpose and all the rest of it, and wives, he does give you a husband so that you can submit one to another, and he can love you as Christ loved the church and help you go out and achieve everything that you've been put on this earth to do. We cannot afford to let those that we are in relationship with deter us from our actual purpose in life. Because we both got an independent purpose that God gave us individually, and you cannot abort that by way of your spouse and whomever else. Because at the end of the day, you got to answer to the fact that you didn't live out your purpose. And it can't be because of anybody else that deterred you from doing so. And so I say that to say this. There's an old saying that sometimes you got to ask for permission and other times you got to ask for forgiveness. Right? I think back to after me going out there and investing in real estate for 8 years on my own, I made some costly mistakes. While I had a lot of success, ignorance is expensive. I was ignorant to a lot of stuff. So I got good enough based on how I knew how to do it. I only could base that off of my fundamental ceiling of achievement, because I had nothing to compare it to. I was the only one in my friend group investing in real estate, the only one in my family investing in real estate. So as long as I was conceivably making money, it seemed like I was doing it right. Well, boy, was I wrong, right? And because of the things that, see, we know what we know what we know, we know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. That's the most expensive thing in our life, is not knowing what we don't know. And so it got to a point where clearly I knew, I'm like, okay, the way I'm doing this only gets me so far. So I had enough common sense to understand I was missing something. I didn't know what I was missing, but I had to go find it. So I finally went out and found mentorship. The first mentor that I found was $40,000 for their base program, and it was like another 20-something thousand dollars for the accelerator. Now, I had never been to a seminar before. So for me, 8 years being out on my own, by the time that I found said mentorship, I didn't have nothing to compare it to about how much it should cost. All I knew was I had found real estate heaven. I had finally figured out like where everybody else was hiding out at that I needed in my life, and here I was. I'm like, whatever it is, I got to figure out how to pay for it because I know what it looked like to be out here beating my head against the wall for 8 years on my own. Well, as I mentioned, it was $40,000 base investment, another 20-something thousand dollars. I had a couple bucks, but I didn't have all of it, right? And so they showed us how to go out and get credit cards, right, to help use OPM to pay for the program. So that's what I did. I went home, I showed my wife, I was all excited, as many of you have been. I'm like, hey, show you how to get this Capital One venture card. I'm gonna get one, plus we got some cash. Like, we just gonna push all of it at the same. Whoa, homeboy, what you say? I'm like, the thing, I was at the thing. Remember I told you I was at the event and it all come out like vomit, right? And she was like, okay. So she got the Capital One venture card, 20,000, right? I got approved for 15. Her credit was better than mine. Fellas, you get it. And so I'm like, okay, bet we got everything we need. So she was cool with getting the credit card. What I didn't realize is she wasn't so cool about moving forward with signing up for the program. But I'm so down the street around the corner, she's still in the garage. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really paying attention. And that's how it is, right? When you go to these events and you passionate about something and you convicted about something, oftentimes you find yourself so excited trying to explain it to your partner and you think you said to them what they needed to hear, but you ain't come close to that. And that's where we were at. And so I said, I want to do it. And she was like, okay. It was a passive okay. Well, I got to the event the next, it was a 3-day event. I got to the event the next day and I signed up during lunch. Let's just say she was less than thrilled about the fact that I did that, right? The first comment was, I thought you said that you was thinking about it. I was like, I did, and I thought about it. And so at lunch, when they had an opportunity, I just went ahead and got it out the way. It was a very unpopular decision at the crib, okay? And probably was a little uncomfortable for about 6 months, to be quite honest. Because after making that investment, it wasn't like I started making money immediately, right? It was a process. I had to learn and unlearn things that I had acquired over time. And, it got to a point where, we had a lot of debt and all these things that happen when you starting a business, and especially a big one. But my God, I'm a hero today, some 7-8 years after making that investment, because that investment, although it was uncomfortable, although it was unpopular, and although we were unequally yoked about the decision, it was the catalyst to put us in position to start becoming millionaires and multimillionaires. And so I say that to encourage you that even in an amazing relationship, you're not going to always see eye to eye, but that does not give you an out to not pursue the thing that you're supposed to pursue. Because sometimes you ask for permission and other times you have to ask for forgiveness. I hope this video helps somebody. Spousal support is critical. Send this to couples that you know. Send this to your spouse even. Share it, comment, like it, subscribe. And I just encourage everybody. It's important for y'all to get on the same page. But until you do, make sure that you're doing your very best to become the very best person that you need to be in order for you guys to accomplish together what you're supposed to.